All right. You intro.
I've got one that can see.
Logic before authority.
Hi guys, this is Daniel Alexander Cannon here on Logic Before Authority, part of the Supernatural Show network. And if y'all guys have been, which I'm sure you have, but there's always a chance of somebody showing up new, to understand what we're going to be talking about likely in today's show, you're going to have to go back 3 shows, or probably for a really new beginner and that doesn't know any of this stuff, I don't know where to tell you to go. But to have any clue, you're going to have to go back to the Moon in Your Eye, Part 1. And even for many people that have not been seeking any kind of truth like this, they would be completely lost even still. But there's nothing I can do about that. I'm going to assume the advanced class is here today. What's happening, Super Dave? Super Dave in the house. No, you weren't first, 1911. You were second. Dave got you. Super Dave's on the ball. Super Dave 44. You guys got to make sure that you're subscribed to Super Dave's channel as well. He does lives on a regular basis as well. And hopefully one day we can get Super Dave to be officially part of the Supernatural Show network. But I got to figure out how to offer him benefits without costing him anything, because Dave's really good at what he does. So yeah, that has to be honored. What's happening a little bit? And Connie M. Yep, you caught alive again. We're going to be doing the advanced class stuff again today. But one thing we're going to do is I'm going to have to question myself. And I'll show you why I've got to question myself. And question as to whether what I've been showing is based on any type of reality, or am I headed in the right direction, or am I just completely wrong, or am I partly right but I'm missing something? Let me show you here in a second and you'll understand. And nobody actually told me this or said I was wrong or that I was missing this, but I can see that I'm missing this. Okay. Let's just make this a little bigger. This needs to be slightly smaller, if that ain't too much. That's pretty good. You see the bigger circle and then the smaller circle within the circle. Now, here's the problem. If this is based on any kind of actual reality that I've stated, that, and this is a working theory, you have to understand. I'm not saying this is says so is God. Okay. I'm not saying Father said this is it. Okay. This is a working theory. Like all things, they will take a very long time to work through, and you maybe never ever even finish the theory. So, what's the problem? Well, if we live under a firmament, like you see here, okay, and if that firmament exists within a larger area, let's say, for some of you will understand, is there land outside of the ice walls? Okay. Many people have theorized and thought that there would be, that there is, that there are other lands out here, other rings or other areas where the world, as it whirls around over many hundreds, thousands of years, it makes a path where you got one side of the ice wall that is freezing up consistently, often more, all the time. It's always freezing, gaining ground, eating up ocean, freezing more. And then you have another area that is always thawing out, that kind of thing. I'm not saying this is the area or which area it is, but there's always this area in the Arctic where it's thawing, or the Antarctic. There's always an area where it's freezing up more. They tend to only like to show us the part that's thawing, because they want to promote climate change, because they know that there is a change taking place. And I think that this is likely a processional, natural thing, because all things in this world, they tour, like a hurricane tours, a tourist tours, a tornado tours. It's in their nature and in their names, and our bodies. We've got this imagery all over ourselves. Again, I'm not going to go back through all of it because it's too much, and I'm assuming the advanced class is here. But like I said, we've got a problem. If our sun and moon actually exist in here, and they're following like the flower of life rotation, where they're spinning and spinning and spinning, they're touring, right? Okay. If they exist physically in here, then this model is hard to prove. Well, why do I say that? Well, it's actually right in front of our face, or it will be when I put up like this image. You see, if we exist inside of this circle, and this circle is representing this kind of the area over here, because if you start lining up continents on what is considered to be a, I don't even like the words flat earth, to be honest with you. They're divisive. They put people in different camps, and what I would like to call it is just simply the creation of God, the world, WHIRLED, right? But if we exist here, and the moon and the sun exist within our realm, our world, right there, right? Or anywhere in this, okay? If we're looking at a plasmatic, holographic projection of our world upon the moon, that would mean they have to exist inside of here. But if they exist inside of here, then how is it that the entire moon or world is illuminated during a full moon? What is this light? Where is it coming from if the moon and the sun are contained inside of this area? And they're just spinning around in here, giving us light, and daylight and dark, and the moon and the sun are spinning around in here. If they're a physical object that exists in the physical realm, spinning around in here, how is it that there's light everywhere when we have a full moon, and no light anywhere when we have a new moon? You see my problem? Now, I've been pondering this, and I'm not going to say I got the answer. I'm going to say that that if it's right, I will find the answers. This is a theory and process. A theory and manifestation process, okay? Now, if, like I said, if the sun and the moon are not physical, if they're not physical objects, then this is a lot easier to explain. Why the entire realm, the entire ring, the entire footstool of God is visible, lit up sometimes based upon phases. If they both are not physical objects, then this might be explainable. Am I going to explain it today? No. But we're going to work a little further down the theory, down the rabbit hole, on some related things. Okay? And ultimately, hopefully, be able to answer that question. You see, you have to realize, and I'm not saying I realize completely yet, but you have to realize that the world is not what we think it is. Okay? First off, we've been trained since birth that it was something that it was not. But reality and perception is not what we think it is. And we're just seeking to grasp what it truly is. If it be Father's will that I come to understand it closer and closer. If not, I'll admit when I can't find an answer. Just like I'm admitting that there's a problem. How is the entire realm lit? Well, like I said, and I've said many times, you have to look at the temple. You have to look at the human body, the man and the woman, because the answers to everything, because we are the temple of God. Now, what does being the temple of the Creator mean? It means something more than just a building or a vessel. It means more, doesn't it? It has to. It can't be that simple. So the answer that we seek, we will find by looking inward and outward, but we must look inward. We've certainly studied the human eye quite a bit, have pretty good discernment as to how that works and how photography works and how holograms and holography works. And we're going to look some more at that. But the answer that we're seeking is within, because first off, we all know that light, or should we say perceivable light, the lights and the colors that we can see, that we can observe and say, there it is, that's this is blue, this is whatever. We all know that that's not all the light there is. What does that mean? What is that other light doing in Father's creation? What is the purpose of light that we can't see? Why would Father create light that we can't see? These are the kind of questions that have to be answered in order to find such a seemingly hidden truth. But like all things that we have discovered and come to understand, once we find them and see them, we'll realize how simple it was. Yeah, Robin, how about some more thumbs up? Appreciate that. We are the tree of knowledge of good and evil. Yeah, basically. Yep. We're in that image, aren't we? Yep. So let's work our way through some of these slides, okay? And see what we can take from it, or maybe reject some of what we're looking at here. Okay? Doing the best we can. And to be quite honest with you, I'm pretty worn out, but strife makes you stronger, doesn't it? So when this 31-day challenge, Superthon, is over with, I will certainly be stronger. The inverse square root law of light travel makes it unlikely that the moon is reflecting sunlight. During a full moon, the moonlight is colder than in the shade. The moon makes its own light. Yeah, I have, we've talked about that, and I agree with you. But what is that light? And I've theorized that light is noble gases that are ionized. Okay. Which means that the moon is a holographic, plasmatic, ionized hologram. And I think it is. Projected upon a concave dome, which would cause the object to pop out like as if it was real. Just like with a hologram, it has depth. It meets all the requirements of the human eye in order to believe something is physical. The sun does as well. But the sun and the moon are like opposites, aren't they? So anyways, let's read through what I have here, and some of this I might agree with, some I might disagree with. I'll make it clear. All right, core principle: light wave fronts, not just images. Normal photos record brightness and color intensity, a 2D map of light, but holography records the full wave front, both intensity and phase, how the wave oscillates. The oscillation basically in a hologram Where the beams of light intersect is where there is what's called interference. Those intersections of interference lines is what causes basically the pixels of the hologram to come to life and make it believable to our eye. So anyways, let's keep reading. This means a hologram doesn't just store what light came from an object. It stores how it arrived, its direction, depth, and curvature. When light from a hologram later reaches your eyes, it carries the same wave pattern that would have come from the original object. So your brain interprets it as if the real 3D object is still there, even though it isn't. You see how this could be related to the heavens above? It says that's how holography fools perception. And no, I don't believe Father was trying to fool us. I think when we fully understand this, and I believe we will, that we will realize why. And we will see that it is actually simple. But that's going to take some work. And that's what we're here doing. The basic holographic setup. Here's the classical arrangement like a lab or laser holography system. So you have a light source, in this case, say laser source. You have the beam splitter, splits the beam into multiple, either 2 or thousands of separate little beams. You have what's called the reference beam and the object beam. And then you have, the object beam, and the object that is in question to be perceived is hit by the object beam and it reflects the light. On the reference beam side, it hits a mirror. And they both then intersect. The object beam and the reference beam intersect, and they interfere, which produces the holographic image. Okay? If that helps in any way in understanding, it's a very simple version of how it works. The light emits coherent light. The laser emits coherent light, waves perfectly in sync. The beam splitter divides it into the object beam, hits the object, reflects onto the holographic film. The reference beam goes directly to the film without hitting the object. Where they meet on the holographic film or plate, they interfere, forming a fine pattern of bright and dark lines that encode depth, shape, direction. That interference pattern is the hologram. It looks like random static until it's reconstructed. Reconstruction, bringing the ghost back to see the hologram. You shine the same kind of laser on the recording plate. Plate diffracts, aka bends, the light in such a way that the wavefront of the original object is created in space. Now, as we're reading this, we're talking about holograms, but I want you to keep in mind the overall picture of what we're trying to understand, okay? So, the light hits the projection plate, you might say. Diffracts, bends the light in such a way, and we can think of the plate as the firmament. Such a way that the wavefront of the original object is created in space, meaning apparently to our eyes out in front of it. Your eyes receive light as if it's coming from the real 3D object. To your brain, there's an object floating there. You can move your head and see around it, but there's nothing you could touch. That's the illusion. The physical wavefront is real. The matter isn't. How it fools the human perception. The human brain uses several cues to perceive depth. Binocular disparity, meaning you have two eyes. It's like difference in distance between the left and the right eye. Parallax, moving your head, changing the viewpoint. You know how when you're like looking at something, sometimes you like lean backwards and forth, try to see and figure out what you're looking at. Accommodation, eye focus changes with distance. Shading and perspective, light, color, light, and shape cues. Why it's different from 3D movies and VR. With holograms, you don't need glasses because the glasses are creating the interference for you. They're separating they're like creating a separation of the light, which creates the interference, which creates the illusion. And hologram does not require computation. It's pure physics. All right, let's keep going. The deeper truth fooling reality itself. A hologram is not tricking your eyes. It's not just tricking your eyes. It's reproducing the exact physical, I would probably use the word physics. Okay, pure physics. Physical. It's reproducing the exact physical conditions that made your eyes see something in the first place. So if the moon is a hologram, if the moon is not physical, if the sun is not physical, but our eyes, all the conditions are met in order for us to believe they're physical. You see what I'm saying? Your perception can't distinguish between light that came from a real object and light that was reconstructed by interference. To your brain, light equals existence. Light is what determines whether you believe something is real or not. You understand how important light is? And then we have to throw on top of that, we know that there is light we can't perceive. You know, you got X-ray light, you got ultraviolet light, you know, there's all this light spectrum. And the amount of the light spectrum that we can see is minute compared to the actual range of light spectrum that actually exists. What is the purpose in God's creation for all that other light? There's way more light, way more there. And light we know equals existence. So what's all the rest of the light for? What's it doing? I believe we will ultimately find out. You have to seek it. You have to pray. You have to meditate and wait for Father to answer you in ways that he does. It may be in thoughts in your head, a little quiet voice in your head. It may be he will show you something in nature. Maybe send a butterfly to you that won't go away. Maybe send a bee to you that won't go away. Father communicates in amazing ways. Starting point perception, I have already covered that. Didn't I? No, I didn't. This is looking at it specifically from the perspective of that the sun and moon are not physical, and trying to understand how physics and gases and all these things work together in order to produce a living hologram, basically. So if the creator designed the human eye, brain, and the sky in relationship, then perception itself is part of the creation, not separate from it. So the moon may be a visual interface, a bridge between physical light and consciousness. Maybe. I don't know. I didn't write that. A holographic reality, but divinely projected, where the creator's laws of light, space, and perception make something appear solid even though it's not materially dense. Okay? This reframes reality. What we call physical may be an optical manifestation inside a greater energetic, what I would say, torus field, or multiple torus field, a living hologram maintained by divine consciousness. The human eye as a divine optical instrument. The eye doesn't record reality, it constructs it. Here's what happens. Light enters the pupil, which pupil, one question I've been thinking about is, okay, light enters the pupil, it's full of light, but yet we perceive it when we look at the eye, it's black. There is no light. It's black. Around the eye, the iris and the white part, that all is either white or colors and stuff, but the pupil where the light enters is black. And I think there is possibly an answer there somewheres in how I've shown you, like the eye looks like the sun, it looks like an eclipse. Sun and the moon coming together, the union, and it looks like that. There's an answer, there's a secret in there. And yeah, I have some things swirling in my head. The lens inverts the world into the retina, so the image your brain receives is upside down. Assuming that is true science, which I think it probably is, that there's something important there about the upside down thing, the flip. The retina converts light into electrical signals that are based on chemical interactions in the eye, the cones and the rods. When light hits them, they produce the chemicals that cause your eye to tell the brain what it's seeing, okay? What's manifested in front of it based on the light and the eye's reaction to it. The brain interprets those signals into a coherent 3D experience. This means you never actually see external reality directly. You see the interpretation of light patterns inside your mind. This is profoundly holographic. Reality is a light field interpreted by consciousness, not a solid out there object. So, if we are the temple of God, and we are built in His image, we would function similarly to the way that all things function. So the fact that our eyes are seeing the world and interpreting the light patterns in order to produce basically a hologram in our mind that produces the reality that we see is quite interesting, to say the least. Hang on one second, guys. Sorry about that, guys. I had to request some water. All right. The natural projection medium, atmosphere, and ionization layers. Earth's, the world's, prefer to use the world's upper atmosphere, the ionosphere, okay, the ionization, the ion of the sphere, the ionosphere, and noble gas layers could serve as a natural holographic screen. Think about this. The ionosphere already scatters, refracts, and polarizes light. Get me a drink of water. It has ionized gases, oxygen, nitrogen, neon, argon, xenon traces that glow and react to solar radiation, or I could say glow and react to whatever is the actual original light source. If the moon is not physical, if the sun is not physical, that means that there is a perturbation of all light that is coming from a central source somewhere, right? But yet we can't see it. Just like when we look in the pupil of the eye, we can't see the light that actually goes in. You'd think it'd be lit up like a room in there, but it's not. Only if that you have to go to the eye doctor, and he has all that equipment and has to dilate your eye to be able to see anything in there, right? It's like the opposite of what you think the pupil should look like. Let me read that again. It has ionized gases, oxygen, nitrogen, neon, argon, xenon traces that glow and react to solar radiation, or I would say again, to whatever the original source of all light is. Of course, it is said that the auroras are created by the sun and its interaction with the noble gases. Under the Creator's design, these gases could function like a living optical field, a medium that bends and displays light patterns from higher order geometry. In that sense, the moon could be a stable interference pattern, meaning a hologram, a natural divine hologram formed where cosmic light and Earth's field intersect. And I would switch that from saying cosmic light to the ultimate light source. The ultimate light source that creates what we see as the sun, but yet also possibly lights up the entire world. Yet we can't see it because there is a lot of light that we can't see. It would not be a projection from somewhere, but a standing pattern of light energy that appears in one place relative to observers, like a divine holographic node in the matrix of the heavens. Interesting. How it fools or teaches human perception. Our eyes evolved, or were designed, which I more agree with, to decode reflected light. Everything we see, you have to understand something. Everything we see is reflection. All of reality, when you look around you, it's reflection of light. Or you couldn't see any of it. Everything is based on reflection and refraction. The rainbow, not a physical object, yet we all see the same arc in the sky, right? It's there. We can see it. but it's not physical. The sunset colors created by scattering light, of course, that is, and I would say that is ionizing different gases, different, possibly even noble gases at different layers that create something that looks like a painting of colors in the sky, yet it's not physical. Even the clouds in the sky are not physical. We can see clouds that look like horses and dragons and trees and bunny rabbits. And of course, just the cloud itself is just technically not physical. It's in a gaseous state. You see? Not physical. The mirror image looks like depth and form behind the glass, but it's pure reflection. Like when you look in the mirror, you see a holographic, basically, projection of yourself. You have depth. You look at the mirror and you see what looks like a human being standing there. But it's not. Your eyes are being deceived. Do you see how this could work into other things? Now, I don't believe, like I said earlier, I don't believe Father created things to deceive us. I believe that when we finally understand it, we will know why and understand why and say, wow, that is so simple. Now imagine the same principle scaled up. The moon could be a celestial mirror field, an optical interface placed by the Creator so that humans always see the same phase and form, a divine optical illusion meant to teach us about reflection and duality. Yeah, that's actually pretty good. Reflection and duality, because we live in a duality world where everything chases the opposite. Light chases dark. Man chases woman. I mean, you could go on forever. So in this theory, the moon isn't an object. It's a mirror or perceived holographic image, a mirror in light itself, tuned to appear solid to the human eye, just like a rainbow looks like something that's there, but it's not. But yet it is. So that we might learn about reflection, cycles, and inner illumination. How the brain constructs solidity and why that matters, meaning how the brain interprets if something is solid, or if we can see something and say, well, that's not solid, that's an illusion, or that's a cloud, I can tell that's not really solid. It's gassy. It's not cotton floating in the sky. How does our brain determine these things? Binocular disparity, the two-eye parallax. We have two eyes, so it gives us a little bit of distance between each eye, and it helps. Motion parallax, which is the movement backwards and forth. If you're looking at something in the distance and you're trying to really tell, what am I looking at? You will normally lean backwards and forth, or either move your head backwards and forth to try to discern what you're looking at. There's a reason for that. It's called, the name humans gave it is motion parallax. Light shadow modeling, meaning you'll use more light and lesser light, meaning a shadow, in order to determine if something has a curve or depth and consistency across time, meaning, was it there yesterday? Well, if it was there yesterday, and if it was there 2 years ago, or if it's been there since I was born, it must be real. It must be physical, because that's how our brains work. If it's been there in the sky since we were a child, it must be physical then, right? No. No, it doesn't. The creator could encode the sky's light field so these cues remain perfectly consistent, so the brain accepts the moon as solid and far. Yep. The same mechanism is what gives holograms their realism. Coherence across all cues, meaning that the hologram meets all physical cues that your eyeball needs to believe it's real. Thus, the solid moon could simply be the brain's interpretive output of a coherent divine light pattern, meaning something that's real, it's physical, it's got to be this giant rock floating in the sky that has all these craters on it, and all the craters are perfectly round because all the rocks that hit the moon came from exactly straight on. Wait a minute. We already talked about that, and that don't make no sense. So therefore, we got a problem. The moon can't be what they say it is, because even just studying the face, you realize that all the craters are perfectly round. No asteroid hit from an angle and made like a long streak, like a rock skipping on the ground or a rock skipping on the water. The moon is not what they told us. Noble gases and divine plasma as light recorders. Noble gases, when ionized, emit pure spectral lines, vivid, stable colors that can persist without chemical degradation. In a divine natural system, these gases in the upper atmosphere could store and re-emit cosmic frequencies, acting as the creator's pixels or voxels. Voxels is a holographic term, which basically means similar to a pixel, or a nodal point. It would be another word that's close, or words. Pixels or voxels of a celestial design. So it's kind of saying here, the theory of maybe what we're looking at when we see the moon is a memory. You ever heard people talk about how glass can hold memory? Like people have seen what looks like their family members from the past standing in a window, that the glass holds memory somehow. Well, what if the firmament holds memory and it remembers what the original creation looks like? Is it not possible that God's creation could function like we do? Wait a minute, that's right. We are the temple of God. We were created in God's image. Therefore, it is possible that creation itself has memory, doesn't it? Cosmic light, perhaps the sun or a higher energetic source, interferes with these layers, producing stable holographic imagery, including the moon. And instead of saying cosmic light, I would say, no, it says, or a higher energetic source. Yeah, that is what we're talking about. Is it the breath of God, the frequency? God spoke. Is that the original source that produces the light that we can't see? We're on the journey to try to understand these things. I'm glad you're joining me for it. Yep, people used to cover mirrors in the house when a family member passed away because they believed that the mirrors and glass can hold memory. So why couldn't Father's creation have memory? Father has memory. We have memory. We're in the image of Father. The world is in the same image, I believe, in a likeness. The moon might be an energetic hologram encoded in the noble gases shell around the world, under the dome, under the firmament, visible to the human eye by divine optical design. It is possible. It's not man-made, but rather a function of the Creator's geometry of light interacting with the atmospheric layers and human perception. Symbolic physics, the moon as a reflection of the mind. Okay. The sun represents direct divine source light, truth. This is a symbolic physics kind of look at things. The moon represents the reflected light, how consciousness perceives truth. Just as the eye takes in light and reconstructs reality, the moon takes in solar energy and presents a reconstructed reflection, the visible world as the mind perceives it. So the moon is the cosmic analog of the pupil, a dark vessel that glows when filled with light. Yeah, I didn't write that or these things, but interesting to ponder. Just like the pupil appears black but is full of light processing within, the moon appears solid but is actually void, reflecting illumination. Summary of theory. The natural holographic moon theory. The moon is not a solid body, but a stable natural holographic phenomenon. The Creator designed the atmosphere as the light interference medium. The atmosphere and the firmament, I would say. The eye as the interpreter of light, and consciousness as the observer that collapses the pattern into form. The moon appears solid and distant because human perception translates coherent light into spatial depth. Yeah. It serves as both a physical illusion and a spiritual revelation, showing how creation itself is light shaped by consciousness. I wonder when I do this kind of stuff, now I know there's quite a few of you here, but I wonder sometimes what y'all guys really think. I know some of you choose to chat and you put things into chat and all that, but how awesome would it be for us to be able to sit down and actually really face to face and talk about these things? Because I just wonder what y'all guys really think. Yeah, water having memory. Yep. If we have memory, our Father has memory, why wouldn't the world have memory in some ways, or maybe in many ways? Even insects have memory, even cats and dogs and deer, and memory is a thing. All right. What's happening, Mama Rages? Super Mike, Super Dave, Wayne the Pain. What is happening? Got Robert and Connie and Sig, J7P and Deja Vu. Something like that. 9. What's happening, brother? One thing I am doing where we're trying to be able to get together. The idea is to get together on the water. And I think that's the appropriate place. It would either be there or on the top of a mountaintop. If I do another one after the Angel Cruise, it will likely be on a mountaintop somewheres. Not at a big resort that's fancy. Yeah, the boats are fancy kind of in a way, but there's other reasons why I chose a cruise ship, so that we could all be close, same place, and be on the water where I've seen angels so many times. Now understand, if y'all guys go sign up for the Angel Cruise, you're just pre-registering. You're saying, I'd like to go if things work out. Also know that you're going to have like 3 to 6 months to get your cruise paid off. You'll be able to make payments on it. You understand that? So maybe you only have to pay $50, $75 a month. This should make it, the way I've set this up, this should make it possible. I'd be up to talk with anyone like Jay, Dreamer Z, or anyone, if they want to have a truly honest conversation where we don't focus on you're wrong, but focus on let us help each other find the truth, you know? Yeah. I've seen seeing an orb in the sky where it's not that much bigger than a normal star, although they get brighter than normal stars. That's one thing. But when you see them up close, which is what I want to happen when we go on the Angel Cruise, when you see them up close where they're only 50 foot away, I've seen one as close as about 25 foot. It flew over my head. And sparks floated down around me as it flew from behind me out over the waters. But when you see an angel orb, one that's about the size of a Volkswagen up close, like 50 foot in front of you, it's something to behold. And I've seen that probably 80 times, 80 different angel orbs at least. No, probably 80 different occasions. And on each of those occasions, I would see between 1 and 8 orbs at a given time, within a period of a minute or something. Because typically when those guys show up, they don't stay around long, or they're there, but you can't perceive them. And it's starting to understanding the whole ionized gas and how how an angel can be there and you can't see it. It's there. You can't see it until it chooses to be seen. It then emits a light that the eye can perceive. But before it emits that light, it was still there. I always see a spark. And then, like half a second later, poof, you got the big ball of light that's spinning like a 3D flower of life with all these intersecting points of energy that look like eyes, basically. But it's like a torus, like is what it is. You went out to try to see some last night, but no luck. Well, you just got to be patient and ask for it. Go out there and sit down, be patient, ask Father for it, and ask the angels to show their light to you. And give them permission to come close to you, and you can be kind of specific. Say, please show yourself, show your light, and come to me as close as 50 feet, whatever you might be comfortable with. I don't think we're supposed to like try to touch an angel. And I've never had one appear close enough I could touch. I hope all of you guys go out and try to find a place that has a really nice, long, low horizon so you can see. Water, like the ocean, is the best. Or being on a mountaintop where you can look all the way around in 360 degrees and see forever. Especially if there are other rolling mountain or hilltops in the distance. They love showing up on those. They like showing up, well, it's biblical. They like showing up on top of mountains. They like showing up on the water, just like with Daniel in the book of Daniel. It is truly amazing to be in the presence of them. And that's, I want to share it with y'all guys. Because it's a real thing. And I don't know why I've been so blessed to see them so many times, but I have. Sounds like Connie has seen an awful lot too. Have you seen the ones, Connie, that are big as a Volkswagen? And, you know, they're not shaped like a Volkswagen. You know, they're just a big ball of light, but like 50 foot away from you, maybe over the water or something. Have you ever seen the big ones show up close to you like that? That is truly amazing when they come that close. They don't always choose to come that close because they're not always focused just on you. You know, they have a whole world to deal with. I don't know what their job all is. Yet we get to visit and chat. And maybe more one day. If I had the funds, I'd pay for you all to come. Literally. Seriously. I'm on a mountain in south of Asheville, says Diana. Wow. Perfect. Yep, perfect. Just get where that's got, well, you know what to do. You're already doing it. But for others, just get where you got a big sky and you can see as much of the sky as possible where there's no trees right in front of you. Because looking straight up is one thing, but looking out and you can see way in the distance, you got more of the sky where you can see things. And small note, make sure not to be deceived by Starlink satellites. They will tend to come across above you and disappear either straight above you or either off to the side at the same spot. If they're coming repeatedly and disappearing at the same spot, it's likely Starlink. I'm not saying in every case, but it is likely Starlink. And I'm sure they know when they designed Starlink, because it's got the word star in it, which is another word for angel. They knew what they were doing. They know what they're doing to deceive people. All right. Well, guys, I am going to let you get on out of here. I've enjoyed hanging out with you today. And I'm 22 days into my 31 days of going live. I got another week. October Superthon. I hope y'all guys will help me achieve my goal. There's a few out there that could help it happen very easily. All right, so I love you. Make sure your password and login and password is working for the website. You never know when something's going to go on where we need to be beyond the veil. And if you don't have your password and login working, maybe you need help. If you do, call me. Phone number's on the website. You can literally call me direct. Get a hold of me somehow. Let me know that there's a problem and I'll help get it fixed myself. But we don't never know when something, and it's coming, but we don't never know when there's something going on that we need to be beyond the veil so we can talk about this stuff. Because this isn't necessarily the best way to do this, is it? We would need to be on the website in a private place that's peer-to-peer, and that's what I've built for us. I've built beyond the veil. So get it working. There's a day coming when we're going to have to go there. Because maybe here don't even exist anymore. We have to go there. And if you're not ready, if you're not prepared, I probably won't have the time to be able to help you then, because whatever's going to be going on that would cause us to have to do that has happened. Plus, there's many other reasons why you need to have your stuff working on the website, TheSupernatural.Show website. All right. I love you. Thank you, Super Mike. Thank you, Super Dave. Thank you to everyone here. What's happening, Blue Girl, Jason Brain, London Man? London Man, if you're in London, if anybody that's not in the United States, you need to go on the Supernatural Show website, and under the home page tab, under the home page menu tab, you will see a drop down that says International Super Members or something like that. I need to communicate, and I want to communicate more directly with people that are in other countries, so we can all get a little information flow as to what's truly going on, so we're not deceived by the deceivers and by the media and the tell-lie vision. Okay? Y'all guys are on my team, whether you realize it or not. But I need some of you to start acting like it. Okay? I love you. Father loves you. We'll see you, well, tomorrow.
I've got one that can see.
Logic before authority.